Welcome, miladies of inestimable value. Some people spend their lives chasing magic, but for Sigmas, the magic is them. They just don't know it yet. Here's a wild fact to get your mind buzzing. The average person makes over 35,000 decisions a day, most of them without even realizing it. But what if some of those decisions weren't really decisions at all? What if they were subtle whispers from instincts so sharp they bordered on psychic? That's the Sigma. They don't wave crystal balls around or read palms at carnivals, but their everyday lives are filled with powers they don't even know they're flexing. From changing the vibe of a room without saying a word to unknowingly bending other people's paths with a single glance, Sigmas are like the plot twist in your favorite movie. You don't see them coming, but when they hit, everything makes sense. And the best part? They're just out here thinking, what powers? I'm just living my life. So buckle up, because we're about to unpack the 10 psychic powers Sigmas don't even realize they have, and trust me, it's about to get weird, wonderful, and just a little bit eerie. Number 1. Fate Whisperers. Sigmas have an uncanny ability to sense when it's time to make a move, and no, it's not luck or coincidence, it's something far deeper. Their instincts work like an invisible compass, pulling them toward the right opportunities and steering them away from chaos. The strangest part? They don't even question it. They'll suddenly feel an urge to quit a job, leave a party, or take a random detour on their way home. To everyone else, it might look impulsive or reckless, but what happens next always seems to prove them right. That gut feeling they trust is more like an unspoken dialogue with the universe, and it rarely leads them astray. While others hesitate, second-guess, or need 100 reasons to justify their decisions, Sigmas just know. It's almost spooky how they can sense when a situation is about to turn sour or when something better is just around the corner. They'll walk away from a seemingly perfect opportunity without hesitation, only for a better one to land in their lap days later. People often call this intuition, but with Sigmas it feels like something much bigger, like they're operating on a frequency the rest of the world hasn't tuned into yet. This ability to flow with life instead of forcing it is part of what makes Sigmas so magnetic. While others chase, push, or cling to what isn't meant for them, Sigmas trust that what belongs to them will find its way. It's not arrogance, it's just a quiet, unshakable belief in their own instincts. And let's be real, when life keeps proving them right, why wouldn't they? They don't just navigate the world, they glide through it, guided by something they can't explain and don't need to. Number 2, unconscious aura. Amplifiers. Sigmas carry an energy that's impossible to ignore. It's not loud, flashy, or attention-seeking. It's quiet, yet so intense it commands the room without them even trying. Their aura isn't something they put on or take off. It's woven into who they are, like an unspoken signature that says, I'm different, and you'll notice. The fascinating part is how their presence can completely alter the atmosphere of a room. People either feel drawn to them, unsettled by them, or deeply curious. But whatever the reaction, it's never neutral. Their energy is like a mirror, reflecting back what's hidden inside others. If someone is confident, they'll feel inspired around a Sigma. If they're insecure, they might feel uneasy. This unspoken dynamic has nothing to do with anything the Sigma says or does. It's just the unshakable force of their authenticity. Sigmas don't need to prove anything to anyone, and that lack of neediness is magnetic in a way that defies logic. People often find themselves leaning in closer, wanting to figure out why they're so intrigued, even when the Sigma barely speaks. What makes this even more extraordinary is that Sigmas rarely notice the effect they have. To them, they're just living their lives, minding their business, and staying true to themselves. They're not trying to influence anyone, but that's exactly why they do. Their aura communicates something raw and real, like an unspoken promise that they're not here to conform or compete. They're just here to exist on their terms. This quiet confidence disrupts the energy of a room, making people feel more alive, more self-aware, or even more vulnerable. It's not a performance. It's simply the raw power of being unapologetically themselves. And that's what makes their aura unforgettable. Number 3. The magnetic disruptors. Sigmas have a bizarre relationship with their surroundings that's almost impossible to explain, yet unmistakable when it happens. Technology, for instance, seems to rebel in their presence. Phones freeze, Wi-Fi mysteriously drops, and gadgets that worked fine 5 seconds ago suddenly malfunction. It's not like they're trying to hack the system. Their energy just seems to throw it off balance. People around them might joke about it, but deep down, it's almost eerie how consistent this pattern is. The strange thing is, this disruptive energy doesn't stop at technology. It extends to plans and even nature itself. Flights get delayed, meetings get canceled, or sudden weather changes force everyone to pivot. But somehow, these shifts always seem to benefit the Sigma. While others scramble in frustration, Sigmas move through the chaos as if they expected it all along. Their ability to adapt on the fly is impressive, but what's even more fascinating is how the universe seems to rearrange itself to suit them. That flight delay, it connects them to someone who turns out to be pivotal. That glitchy email, it saves them from sending something they'd later regret. It's as if Sigmas operate on a frequency the rest of the world can't quite sync with. The disruptions they cause might frustrate others, but they rarely faze them. In fact, they've learned to trust these odd occurrences as signs that things are aligning exactly as they should. Their calm amidst the storm makes it seem like they're not just navigating life, but subtly influencing it without even trying. Whether it's the universe bending to their will or their energy being just too powerful for ordinary systems to handle, one thing's for sure. When a Sigma's around, expect the unexpected. Number 4. Hidden truth extractors. There's something almost unnerving about the way Sigmas pull the truth out of people without lifting a finger. They don't ask probing questions or put anyone on the spot, yet secrets tend to spill in their presence. It's not because they're particularly warm or overly friendly. If anything, their reserved nature makes this phenomenon even stranger. What really happens is that Sigmas create an unspoken space where pretense feels unbearable, and honesty feels like the only escape. Their energy has a way of cutting through the fluff and forcing people to confront what they're holding back. It's not about trust. It's deeper than that. Being around a Sigma feels like standing in front of a mirror that shows your true self, and most people can't resist the urge to unload. They'll confess mistakes, share buried fears, or even admit things they've never told anyone. And the wild part? The Sigma didn't even try to make it happen. They're just sitting there, observing, listening, and letting silence do the heavy lifting. This ability isn't about manipulation or control. It's rooted in the Sigma's authenticity. They don't play games, don't pretend, and don't tolerate lies in their own lives. That energy radiates outward, creating an atmosphere where anything fake feels suffocating. People unconsciously sense this and often find themselves blurting out things they didn't even know they needed to say. What's fascinating is how Sigmas handle these moments. They don't rush to judge or react. They simply absorb what's said, often leaving the other person feeling oddly relieved. It's like an unspoken therapy session, with the Sigma quietly dismantling someone's emotional walls without ever meaning to. The truth always finds its way to them, not because they demand it, but because their very presence makes hiding it impossible. Number 5. Subconscious detour makers. Sigmas have this unexplainable knack for steering people's lives in unexpected directions without even realizing it. Their presence alone can spark a cascade of events that make someone rethink their choices, question their direction, or explore a path they never considered. It's not like Sigmas go around giving life-changing advice or trying to influence anyone. They simply exist. And somehow, that's enough to create a ripple effect that alters the course of other people's lives. Sometimes, it's their ideas. They'll drop a casual comment or share an unconventional perspective, and suddenly someone finds themselves rethinking everything they thought they knew. A Sigma might suggest a book, challenge a belief, or ask a simple question that lingers long after the conversation ends. And then there's their absence, which is just as powerful. When a Sigma walks away from a friendship, a workplace, or even a casual interaction, it often leaves people reflecting on what they need to change in their lives. Their departure acts like a wake-up call, forcing others to confront what's not working without the Sigma ever intending to spark that kind of self-awareness. The wild part is how often these shifts lead to major turning points for those around them. Maybe someone finally quits a dead-end job, ends a toxic relationship, or discovers a new passion, all because of a small interaction with a Sigma. What makes it even more fascinating is that Sigmas rarely notice the impact they're having. They're not out here trying to change anyone. They're just following their own path, which, in turn, seems to inspire others to find theirs. It's like they operate as unintentional catalysts for growth, pushing people toward opportunities or realizations they wouldn't have stumbled upon otherwise. Number 6. Emotional energy redirectors. Sigmas have this remarkable ability to absorb the emotional chaos of others and subtly redirect it without even realizing they're doing it. It's not that they sit down and actively try to fix anyone's problems. They don't play therapist, nor do they dish out overly comforting words. Instead, their calm, grounded presence acts as a natural reset for the people around them. It's like standing next to an emotional vacuum cleaner. You don't know how it's happening, but suddenly, the weight you've been carrying feels lighter. What's strange is how effortless it seems. Sigmas don't offer solutions or platitudes. They simply listen, observe, or even just exist in someone's orbit. This grounded energy creates an unspoken space where overwhelming emotions, stress, anger, sadness, seem to shrink in size. It's not magic. It's their ability to remain composed, detached, and unbothered, which subconsciously signals to others that their problems aren't as insurmountable as they thought. People often walk away from conversations with Sigmas, wondering why they suddenly feel more hopeful, as if their emotional chaos was quietly sorted out in the background. The crazy part is, Sigmas don't even notice they're doing it. They're not trying to heal anyone or take on anyone else's issues. They just have a natural way of processing heavy energy without letting it stick to them. And while others might lean into drama or emotional spirals, Sigmas step out of the chaos and show, often without words, that calmness is a choice. This quiet redirection of energy leaves others feeling steadier, almost as if they borrowed the Sigma's internal balance for a moment. It's not flashy or loud, but it's one of their most extraordinary and underestimated powers, the ability to leave people better than they found them without lifting a finger. Number 7. Invisible thread pullers. Sigmas have this rare and almost supernatural way of creating chain reactions in other people's lives without even trying. They'll make a passing comment, toss out a random suggestion, or share an observation they barely think twice about, and somehow it ends up changing someone's entire trajectory. To the Sigma, it's just a casual moment, nothing deep, nothing deliberate, but for the other person, it lands like a lightning bolt. Suddenly, they're rethinking their career, their relationship, or even their entire worldview, all because of something the Sigma probably forgot they even said. What's fascinating is how subtle this influence is. Sigmas aren't out here trying to inspire grand revelations or give TED Talk-worthy advice. They're just speaking their truth or offering a different perspective, completely unaware of the ripple effect they're creating. They don't push or persuade. They simply plant seeds, and those seeds quietly grow into life-altering decisions for others. A suggestion to try something new might lead someone to a career breakthrough. A casual critique of a bad habit might be the push someone needs to finally let it go. And sometimes, even their silence speaks volumes, leaving people to interpret the absence of words as a call to action. The beauty of this invisible thread pulling is how organic it is. Sigmas don't sit around plotting how to influence anyone. They're just living authentically, sharing their insights when they feel like it and keeping things moving. It's the authenticity and simplicity of their input that makes it so powerful. People trust what they say because it's never forced or overly calculated. It's raw, real, and often exactly what they need to hear. Sigmas might never realize the profound ways they've shaped someone's life, but their impact is undeniable, and it's always deeply felt. Number 8. Telepathic emotional absorbers. Sigmas have this almost eerie ability to tune into the emotional wavelengths of the people around them. They don't just notice when someone is sad, anxious, or joyful. They feel it, as if the emotions were their own. It's like they're walking around with an invisible antenna that picks up on vibes no one else even registers. But what makes this ability even more fascinating is that Sigmas rarely stop to question it. To them, it feels natural, even if it leaves them drained, overwhelmed, or inexplicably moody after being around certain people. This isn't some mystical superpower, it's more like being an emotional sponge. Without even realizing it, they soak up the energy of their environment, good or bad. If someone is silently struggling, a Sigma will sense the weight of it before the person even says a word. If someone is radiating joy, the Sigma will unconsciously mirror that feeling too. They're not trying to pry into people's inner worlds, it just happens, like second nature. What's crazy is how often they mistake these emotions for their own. A Sigma might walk away from a conversation feeling inexplicably sad or anxious, only to later realize it wasn't even their sadness or anxiety. It belonged to the other person. The flip side is that this ability makes Sigmas incredibly empathetic. They don't need someone to explain their struggles in detail, they just get it. But because they're so private, they rarely draw attention to this skill. Instead, they'll quietly carry that emotional burden, redirect it, or even transmute it into something constructive. It's a psychic gift that connects them deeply to others, even when they're not trying to. The kicker, most people never realize what's happening. To them, the Sigma just gets them, leaving everyone a little lighter except the Sigma who's left figuring out how to wring themselves out. Number 9. Future blueprint creators. Sigmas have a quiet but extraordinary way of shaping their future without even realizing it. Their minds work like intricate blueprint generators, naturally designing the path they want to take, and those mental blueprints have a tendency to manifest in reality, whether they intend for it to happen or not. It's almost as if they're building their lives with invisible hands, envisioning a future in such vivid detail that it subtly draws that future closer to them. The thing is, they don't even notice they're doing it. For Sigmas, planning or obsessing over goals isn't a big dramatic affair. They don't have a laundry list of 20-step plans or a vision board plastered on the wall. It's more like a quiet mental rehearsal, where they picture themselves achieving something, and without fanfare, they begin working toward it. What's fascinating about this ability is how effortlessly it happens. It's not about brute force or grinding their way to success. Sigmas don't rely on obsessive hustle. Instead, it's their natural inclination to mentally map out the life they want, almost in passing. They picture a successful career, fulfilling relationships, or personal growth in such clear terms that the universe somehow aligns to make it happen. Whether it's a job opportunity that suddenly lands in their lap or a chance encounter that changes everything, Sigmas seem to draw the right things into their lives without even trying. It's the law of attraction, but not in the way people usually think of it. Sigmas don't spend hours writing affirmations or focusing on manifesting specific outcomes. They just live in the mental space of what they want, and that thought energy vibrates outward, pulling their future toward them. So, while other people might be hustling and hoping for the best, Sigmas are quietly and effortlessly laying the groundwork for a future that feels destined. They might not realize it, but they're the ones shaping their future in ways that others can only dream of. Number 10. Natural barrier builders. Sigmas have this subtle but powerful ability to create boundaries around themselves that few people even think to cross. It's not about being intimidating or harsh. It's something deeper, an unspoken aura of respect that they radiate without effort. It's as if their very presence communicates, "This is my space, and you're not ready for it yet." People instinctively understand that there's a line they shouldn't cross, even if that line isn't clearly marked. It's not about fear or confrontation. It's about an energy that demands acknowledgement. What's fascinating is how Sigmas don't even have to consciously enforce these boundaries. They don't need to set rules or make demands. Their energy speaks louder than words, creating a natural shield that keeps most people at a distance. It's like a magnetic field that keeps certain energies, whether it's negativity, drama, or even unwanted attention, at bay. The result is that people find themselves instinctively respecting the Sigma's space. whether it's physical, emotional, or mental. It's not that Sigmas are trying to isolate themselves or push people away. They just don't tolerate being drained by others' chaos. This invisible barrier isn't about exclusion, it's about preservation. Sigmas know how to protect their peace and guard their time, which is why people are drawn to them yet often hesitate to get too close. There's a quiet wisdom in the way they maintain their boundaries. They don't need to explain or defend themselves. Their energy does it for them. And as a result, Sigmas often find that the people who do enter their world do so with a deep understanding that they've earned a place in it. It's a rare, unspoken dynamic that few can replicate. Sigmas are not just exceptional individuals. They're walking enigmas, their presence quietly shifting the world around them in ways that leave others both mesmerized and confused. From their ability to absorb and redirect emotional energy to effortlessly creating boundaries that protect their peace, Sigmas live in a realm where their powers operate below the surface, almost unnoticed yet profoundly impactful. They don't need to announce their influence. It speaks for itself. Whether it's shaping the future with mental blueprints, pulling people toward breakthroughs with a single comment, or creating a magnetic pull that demands respect without effort, Sigmas possess an extraordinary ability to mold their environments without lifting a finger. What's truly remarkable is that they rarely even realize the extent of their influence. They don't crave attention or validation. They simply live authentically, and in doing so, they make the impossible seem effortless. The world is full of people scrambling for power, fame, or recognition. But Sigmas don't play by those rules. They operate in a realm that few can see but everyone feels. Their subtle, powerful presence isn't about dominating or controlling. It's about quietly commanding the universe to adjust to their frequency. And as they continue to live their lives in this unique, almost invisible way, they shape not only their own paths, but the world of everyone they touch. Sigmas don't need to be loud, flashy, or even recognized. They're the quiet architects of transformation, and the world, in its own mysterious way, bends to their will. If you've been captivated by the world of Sigmas and their incredible, almost mystical abilities, then you're only scratching the surface. This is just the beginning of a deeper dive into the extraordinary traits that make Sigmas so magnetic and intriguing. So if you want to uncover more secrets that will leave you questioning what's possible, hit that subscribe button. Join us on this journey, and let's explore the fascinating and untold world of Sigmas together. Don't miss out. Your next mind-blowing discovery is just one click away. Thanks for watching, my ladies. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and God bless.